Duty of the outgoing past president, and that's not why it's my favorite. It is because we get to thank some people who have spent careers contributing to Southern agriculture and the SAEA. And for me, this is a special year because some of the people that we're recognizing have been people that I've known and have supported me in the field, and so it's fun to introduce them. Before I introduce our presenters today, though, I want to make a couple announcements, so I'll do my announcements first. For today, after this session at 10:30, there is a session for the emerging scholars. So we'll go the boundaries of careers, right? Having people reflect upon their, I'm going to say later, how many year-long career this morning, and then the emerging scholars are some of the up-and-coming, hopefully future Lifetime Achievement Award winners presenting their research at 10:30. We have a poster session at 3 o'clock, so please make sure to walk through the posters if you haven't already. And don't forget our reception tonight at Top Golf at 6 p.m. So we hope to see you at all those events. I also want to thank all of our awards committees again, but particularly our Lifetime Achievement Award committee members for doing a very difficult job of selecting because there were many good candidates. And I would also like our prior Lifetime Achievement Award winners to stand for a minute so we can recognize those who have already received their awards. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the program over. Our first Lifetime Achievement Award winner today is Devadoss from I'm going to, I promise to keep this short, or just to drag me out of here. But just a brief introduction. Obviously, if I tried to go through and tell you the highlights of everybody's career, I would take the entire time, so I promise this is just a highlight. Stephen was at the University of Idaho for 24 years and joined Texas Tech in 2016. Has been a member of the SAEA for over 25 years and won the SAEA Outstanding Journal in 2008. His research has focused on international trade, and he's described by his students as an enthusiastic and supportive teacher. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you to open the doors.
Good morning. First, I would like to thank Krishna Pada, who nominated me for this award, and also for the committee who selected us. I really appreciate the committee's work. So basically, I'm going to tell my experience from the last 40 years, what I learned, and basically how I do my work by covering basically these four areas. Okay? So my undergraduate was in agriculture, okay? Not agribusiness, not agriculture, pure agriculture from India. Okay? That means I never had any math course, any mathematics, any statistics, any economic theory course. So when I started my PhD program, okay, I did not have any background in mathematics or quantitative methods, any of those things. Okay? I did not even know there are courses called college algebra, trigonometry, calculus 1, calculus 2, 3, linear algebra, things like that. Okay? So the PhD program was difficult. Okay? The only way I got through was by doing three things. Okay? Number one, just working hard, applying work, hard work. Okay? Number two, to my surprise, my cohorts were in the same boat as I am. They did not have math background either. Okay? So we are all struggling together. Okay? And the third thing I was able to get through was, except micro, maybe econometrics, most of the courses are descriptive and graphical analysis. So that helped to get through the PhD program. Okay? So well after my PhD degree, good 5 years later, someone asked me a math question in calculus 3. I thought, hey, I have a PhD in economics, I should be able to answer this. Okay? When I opened the book, I did not understand anything in that particular page. Okay? That's when I realized, I'm not that smart. Okay? Yeah. So since then, I started taking courses. First, I took calculus 3. I understood maybe 50%. Then I went to ordinary differential equation, understood maybe 60%. Then I thought maybe something's lacking. Then that summer at Iowa State, I went to college algebra. Guess who are my classmates? My classmates were 9th grade students from high school. I literally cried, am I really this dumb to take this course now? So that's when I started. After I took college algebra, everything was day and night difference. Day and night difference. Things got much better. So what I would like to do is to cover these areas. First of all, if you are graduate students or a young faculty, you should realize that PhD degree in economics, agricultural economics, applied mathematics. And do well in PhD program and publish in good journals. You should have good background in mathematics, statistics, particularly probability theory and economic theory. The courses I recommend to students are to take college algebra. You may laugh if I say this. To me, the college algebra is the most important course for economics. Whatever research I do, 90% of the work involves college algebra. So trigonometry, all 3 calculus courses, ordinary differential equation, linear algebra, and these are the stat courses, statistical methods, probability and statistics, statistical analysis, then 300 level probability course to math stat course. To granted, I did take some of these courses in my PhD program. Guess what? I hardly understood maybe 50% of material. The reason I did not understand this material is because I did not have a math background. So whenever I start with my students at the very beginning, whether the master students or PhD students, I tell them to take these courses so that they can do well coursework, research work, and further down in their job. I wish, when I started my PhD program, I wish someone told me, dude, you are from India, you don't take any of these materials, you better spend a year or 2 taking these courses. At Iowa State, when I was a student, mine was like a water, it was flowing. I was there for 10, 12 years. I could have taken all these courses at the very beginning before I started my PhD, but I just did not know and nobody told me that. Most students, particularly students from developing countries and our own art business students, do not have this type of math background or product theory background or economic theory background. So consequently, they struggle when they come to graduate school. I would also tell, in my PhD program, I did take all the required courses, everything else. That did not help me with any research or anything, even with teaching. Since I graduated, since 1990, I have taken a total of 32 courses in mathematics, probability theory, and graduate level courses in industrial organization, in natural resource, environmental economics, dynamic optimization, courses like that. I have taken about 32 courses. That's what keeps me going in doing research. Without those kind of courses, there's no way I can do research and publish actively. And good students, my students who have taken these courses, they have done really well. And like Lisa said, I was in Idaho, it's a master program, very small master program. And when I put all my students in this kind of courses, and I will send them to do PhD in Berkeley, UC Davis, Maryland, Texas Tech, University of Colorado. It's not Colorado State, it's University of Colorado at Boulder. I send a student there in general economics, and I send that because their international trade program is one of the top programs in the country. So some of the news also I have sent my students. I would like to tell one story about a student. So this student is from Africa, from Uganda. Classes from school from kindergarten to 12th grade and also undergraduate are pretty much a rundown program. It was not good preparation for her. Somehow she studied, struggled and got through and came to Virginia Tech for masters. Okay? And I met her in 2016 when I moved to Texas Tech. Okay? She told me, okay, when I came to Virginia Tech, all I did was cry and cry and cry because I did not understand anything. Okay? But somehow she completed her master's and then she applied to various programs for PhD and she did not get admission or assistantship in any of the schools. And luckily she got to Texas Tech. Okay? And then when I met her, she was taking my Master of Trade course. Okay? It's a very, very hard working student. Okay? Not many students are as hard working as this particular student. Okay? And she told me, I'm always struggling, I don't know why I'm struggling. Okay? Then I met with her and looked at transcripts and everything else and found out she does not have any of these math courses or stats courses. Okay? And I told her, okay, if you really want to do well in academics, I have a list of courses, you need to take these things. And she said, I'm in my third year PhD, how can I take these courses and do research and graduate on time? Okay? I told her, I will fund you for 2 years extra. Okay? If you could want to take these courses, I would help you. Okay? And she was taking these courses, and at the end of the first year of these courses, she was taking Corpus 3. And she came to my office, she said, Dr. Devadoss, thank you. I said, what happened to you? Okay? She said, after taking these courses, I can understand the textbooks, I can understand journal articles, I'm feeling so much confidence that I can do well in research. Okay? And she said, okay, you know what, I don't care whether I do my PhD at Virginia Tech or at Cornell. I'm very, very happy at Texas Tech because now I understand all the material that I'm doing. Okay? So my recommendation to faculty member is, if a student does not have this kind of background, then give them some extra time or money for a year or so that they can take these courses. Okay? If you allow them to take these courses, they are not only going to do well in their coursework, but also in their research work. Down the line, when they become a faculty, they are going to do much better. Okay? So my recommendation to graduate students is, find a good major professor who can help you and guide you to publish. Okay? And I have told this to many, many students, okay, that in your life, particularly in your academic life, your major professor is the most important person that you can have. Okay? If you have a good major professor who works with you and helps you, okay, then you are going to be very successful. Okay? I have, like Lisa said, in Idaho, we have only master's program. All my students are master's students. It's a very small master's program, maybe like 5-6 students. Okay? And I used to have 1 or 2 students every year. Okay? And I helped those students to publish 75 articles, some of them in good journals like AJE, Economic Inquiry. Okay? And also my students have received 54 awards, okay, including AIA Dissertation Awards and WAA PhD Dissertation Awards. Okay. So when I was at Idaho, we did not have a PhD program, but Washington State, some of you know, it's only 6 miles from Idaho. Sometimes my master students go to Washington State and they continue to work with me for PhD. Okay. So I have helped the students win these awards. Okay. So altogether about 54 awards. Okay. I typically work 10 to 12 hours a day with my students, including evenings, weekends, and nights. Okay. So finding a good students and working with them is a lot of fun. Okay. I don't know how much I have accomplished in my life, but one thing I'm very proud of what I have done is help the students to get this many awards, this many publications. That's all academics about. I wish I was in a PhD in graduate institution right from my assistant professor job. If I had that opportunity, I wish I could have placed at least 1 student per year in academic jobs. That's related to graduate mentoring. I'm moving on to teaching. I have taught about 5 undergraduate courses, 7 or 8 PhD level, graduate level courses. I have published my teaching philosophies in undergraduate and graduate teaching philosophies in this NATA journal. If any of you are interested, you can look at them. But here I'm going to highlight just a few things that I follow to be an effective teacher. The first one is I give reading assignment well in advance. And I tell the students they need to read them and come to class. The very first thing I do is give a quiz on the reading assignments to make sure they do the readings. And when the students come with materials that they have read, it makes that much easier for you to teach. So that's why I give this reading assignments. Then every class I have taught, including undergraduate classes, I have typed notes. I distribute them well in advance so that they can look at the notes. I'm very organized individual. Both my class lecture and also overall course is very organized. And also I explain the material step by step. So these are the three things that I do in my teaching. Again, if you are interested, you can look at my teaching philosophies. In research, the area I work research is international trade, industrial organization, production economics, particularly risk and uncertainty, crop insurance, marketing policy. And also, since my graduate program, I have done work on macroeconomics of agriculture, like interstate, exchange rate. Not many agri-economists work on macroeconomics. Mike Hill is maybe this Iowa State graduates working on macroeconomic issues. And also, I have done work on econometrics. Altogether, I published about 125 articles, mostly not only agricultural journals, but also general economics. Last 10 years, I have published about 60 articles, and much of that is my collaboration with one of my former masters and PhD friends. Now he's a faculty associate professor at University of Arkansas. We typically Skype 4 to 5 hours a day, Skyping and working on research. I would like to thank that individual, Jeff Luxter. Stand up. Jeff, very instrumental for me to do this research for the last 10 to 12 years. Finally, outreach activities. I have served the association, both Southern, AAEA, and Western, and numerous committees, editorial councils, many award committees. It's very important to give back to the association by serving the association at various capacities. And finally, my research related to trade, macroeconomics. When you do research in that area, particularly immigration, you are bound to ask to give extension presentations. I have made 50, 60 presentations during my academic career. So with that, I will stop. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next, I'm going to turn to Mike Reed from the University of Kentucky. Mike has had 40 years all at the University of Kentucky, right?
That's what they say.
That's what they say? So, not going to talk. Okay. Mike has, as all of these award recipients do, amazing research productivity. This wasn't on my notes, but you've heard me, well, if you were at the business meeting last night, you heard me say that we dragged Mike in at the last minute to our Legends versus Students team, and then he carried us. So he obviously still has everything, especially macro. You're right, I didn't realize that. And you're right, most of us aren't macro people, so that's always impresses me. Mike has spent time working with organizations to help form policy, has contributed a lot, excuse me, both to policy and to undergraduate teaching, all aspects. He is past president of SAEA and current journal editor of the JAAE. And with that, I turn it over.
and I'm just as organized as Stephen is. As my students know, all my notes are always typed and my lectures are always the same. And so, I guess there are quite a few people who know me in this audience. But anyway, I thank the nominators for this award. I know a lot of people who are more deserving of me for this honor and were never nominated. So thanks to those nominators, the people who wrote the letters, the people who evaluated them, the probably voluminous materials that I usually sort through pretty quickly if I'm on such a committee. So I thank you for that. I thank my wife. We've split duties, and so I've been able to do academic things, and she was there raising children, 2 kids, and now we've got grandkids and all that. So the division of responsibilities has been good and supportive. I thank the University of Kentucky. I've been there over 40 years, and it's been a great place for me. They've allowed a lot of independence. They've allowed, if I was to fail, it was my own fault, basically. So when I got there many years ago, they stressed that you had to be a self-starter, you had to be independent, you had to make your own program and go with it, and then that's what you did. And nobody came down and told me what to do, generally. We used to have these times when you have a summer assignment that the dean would come up with, and typically involved agricultural economics, so sometimes I was not so fortunate and got involved with that. But anyway, so colleagues, gosh, all the colleagues that I had, not only in the department, but outside to work with. So many close friends and former students and so on. So it's been a great 40 years, and it's wonderful to have an opportunity to work in a job that you really love. Been blessed, thank God. In my Sunday school class one time they asked, well, if you were to have a job, what would be the perfect job for you? And my wife and I looked at, and professor was the perfect job for me. So I'm thankful that somehow I got into that position, not a great planner, and sort of kept going forward, landed in a place, and so it's been great. I've had the opportunity to work with 37 PhD students that I've been major professor for from all over the world. I keep up with most of them. And that relationship that Stephen talked about is really, really not only important to the student, but it's also important to the professor. I've hosted 29 different international scholars, and some of those have been rather productive, and some of those have been doing other things that I never really discovered. But nonetheless, it was fun to get to know them, and sometimes I even get to go back and see them in their own environment. So I've had the opportunity, and you'll see, here I'm going to get into my career, which is very different than Stephen's, and I'm sure different than John's, because I've sort of had this wayward journey that's led me into different things. I've been at the University of Kentucky all that time, but my responsibilities at the university has varied quite a bit over the years. So I've had the opportunity to work professionally in 42 different countries, and then attend conferences in 9 more. So I've been well, I thought I was, and when I talk about my career, I thought I was going to be able to celebrate the Chiefs' victory and tell you when I was a grade school kid playing in the front yard and learned that the Chiefs were coming to Kansas City from Texas. I go back that far, and then the first game in Arrowhead Stadium when I attended and the Jets went, it seemed like it'd be lower than the top of the stands. But I can't do that, I guess, but maybe next year. Iowa State, I was there. When the job market was around in John, we sort of, in 1978, you sort of said, well, this is when I'm going to interview, and you had 4 to 6 interviews, and you made a decision, and if you didn't like what offers you got, you would go ahead and interview again. I mean, there were that many there were that many jobs available. And in a way, not only do I have the golden career, but I kind of got into it at the sweet spot of things too, because things have never been that good since with respect to jobs and the opportunity to find really what you wanted. So in terms of career, I'm not sure that mine is much of a model for anybody to follow, because I'm not a planner particularly. Some may say I lacked focus and didn't plan very well, but one thing I did well was I always kept a link in the department. I always kept an academic link, whether it be certainly teaching and research, but I would have partial appointments around campus, but always had that opportunity, with a partial appointment back in agricultural economics, to work with students and do research. Well, my wife grew up in Virginia, and when I interviewed in Lexington, the department chair, the future department chair, said, well, we knew we had you as soon as we looked at Kansas and Virginia, and we were right in the middle. And he was right, and I wasn't one of those people who said, oh, well, I'll go to Lexington and spend 2 years there and then go elsewhere. I wasn't like that. I didn't really think about that. I just thought about doing what I was doing and sort of putting together a program of some kind and then go forward from that. And I did want to put together my program. I see a lot of assistant professors now trying to work with all these graduate students as soon as they get in. I didn't work with graduate students when I was an assistant professor. I worked on my own stuff and got things published and sort of established my program and went forward from there. And I think I understood a little bit more of what was going on then. And of course, at that point in my career, I was very technical in nature, with a disciplinary focus, working with AEC colleagues in our department, not only the research people, but also the extension people, to get ideas and things. And Jeff mentioned yesterday grain marketing. I was on a grain marketing regional research committee, because one of the things you did was to start looking for, you live in a much different profession now. You started looking for people who would write letters about your promotion right away, and so regional committees were ways to do that. And so that's how I met lots of people, many of whom are retired now. But anyway, it was a great group. But I worked in the marketing area, though my dissertation was on trade. Slowly over time, I worked in the trade, publishing more, doing research more, developing a course, developing a textbook, and then started working with graduate students. And really, the joy of my career has been working with graduate students over the years. You know, I don't have any great discovery. There's no model named after me, or at least if there is a model named after me, it's some other Mike Reed, and I get their emails every once in a while, by the way. But it's really the input and maybe the little emphasis that I've used in all those graduate students, and then I take credit for everything they do after that, you see? So I think solace in that being the investment and helping them, realize their own potential, and a lot of them have done very, very well. But then, in about 10 years into my career, I worked with a congressional person and a senator one of our senators who was really young then and is still around now. He's a little bit notorious, and so we developed a proposal for what was called a trade center. So we got money from Congress to perform trade analysis and do extension and education programs in the Ohio Valley area. That would be Kentucky and the surrounding areas. Well, of course, then you're moving into, and I was just turning to be a full professor then, you're moving into a little bit different program than what your traditional teaching research program would be. So we'd have conferences around, we would do research, we would travel around, and there was a staff of about 12 people that I hired. Well, but I still kept my focus, a little bit of focus in the department. Well, happened to be in the same building then where the Office of International Affairs was, which is now called the International Center, which was headed by 2 agricultural economists. They decided to retire, and then they looked around the university for, well, who's going to do basically this international work, which housed some of the administrative functions that you're familiar with at the university, which would be education abroad, international student advising, immigration, and so on, but also had a projects area. And so as director, my focus was to be on projects. And so for 4 years, I worked in that office as the director of an office that had 19 employees, but still keeping a foot in agricultural economics, doing research and publishing. So I was part-time director, had 2 offices, don't recommend it at all. And finally decided that, after 3 years, I didn't like that, and 3 years being out of full-time research is difficult. So I decided to go back, and my buddy, the dean then, when I come back, says, well, why don't you do international programs for agriculture? So since 1998, I've been international programs for agriculture. And fortunately, all the deans either didn't know how to deal with me or something, but it was always sort of, well, Mike, go ahead and do whatever you want to do in that, and it'll be fine. So it wasn't like it would be at Purdue or A&M or something like that, where they would have a bottom line of, well, you brought in $5 million, we really want 7, and so please do that. It was more, we've got to do these things, do them as best you can, and see what happens. And so still being able to keep my foot in the department, but then took more of a development focus almost. And so I've had the opportunity to do consulting and project work all over the place as a trade or policy person, and so that's been fun too. All doing this, what I love to do. So working with all those people, being director of graduate studies of a total of 14 years, I think, in agricultural economics. So it's been a great fun. So now you sort of know a little bit about my career that you might not have known about. Now the things to consider. Now I'm past the career. What highlights do you have? Well, don't look for much from me. I think graduate students, if you're getting a PhD, you better like to read, write, and speak. As a professor, it's a great job. Generally, nobody's going to come up and tell you have to do this and this and this and this. But if you don't like being a professor, it's your own fault. You should know going in, this is what the professor does. The professor publishes, there are scholars, and if you don't, but you have a wide opportunity of doing that. You can focus on teaching undergraduates, focus on graduate students, you can focus on very disciplinary-oriented research.